They whispered promises of Bitcoin, a digital liberator. It would unshackle you from the very institutions it sought to replace. Banks, governments, even the entrenched monetary system that relentlessly prints currency, thereby submerging the less fortunate in the rising tide of inflation while the affluent effortlessly navigate a sea of liquidity. Yet, as the annals of history relentlessly demonstrate, true freedom seldom arrives without a steep price. For in the audacious act of stripping away established rules, impartial referees, and essential regulators, what remains is hardly a utopia. Instead, it's often a maelstrom of chaos, cleverly veiled as boundless opportunity. You're listening to The Financial Historian, a journey to where the intricate threads of money, power, and history inevitably intertwine, revealing that no truth is ever quite as straightforward as it first appears. To truly grasp the essence of Bitcoin, one must first rewind to 2008, a pivotal year when the very bedrock of global trust crumbled. The ensuing financial crisis didn't just shake markets. It starkly revealed the established system for what it truly was. An intricate, rigged mechanism operating precariously on excessive leverage and elaborate illusions. The seismic collapse of Lehman Brothers sent shockwaves across the globe, forcing an inescapable realization that those at the helm wielded no genuine control, and, perhaps more damningly, bore absolutely no accountability. In a desperate attempt to shore up the very institutions that had precipitated the catastrophe, central banks unleashed trillions of dollars into the economy, while countless ordinary citizens found their homes foreclosed, their jobs vanished, and their life savings evaporated. It was a searing moment of collective disillusionment, an undeniable testament that the supposed financial order was not, in fact, founded on inherent stability, but rather on a fragile collective faith. It was against this backdrop of global economic breakdown that, amidst the quiet hum of an obscure mailing list frequented by computer scientists, an enigmatic user known only as Satoshi Nakamoto unveiled a groundbreaking 9-page white paper. Its stark, yet profoundly impactful, title read, Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. The concept itself was nothing short of revolutionary, and, perhaps more significantly, intrinsically political. Imagine a currency untethered from any state control. Transactions would be authenticated not by fallible bankers, but by the irrefutable logic of cryptography. Its supply would be finite, permanently capped at just 21 million coins, ensuring an inherent scarcity. This was a vision of money devoid of central authority, immune to inflationary pressures, and impervious to manipulation. The proposed system promised to be entirely open, utterly transparent, and fundamentally incorruptible. Crucially, every single transaction would be indelibly etched onto a public, distributed ledger known as the blockchain, an immutable financial history, forever beyond the reach of revision or alteration. It emerged as the seemingly perfect antidote to the systemic failings and egregious sins of 2008, nothing less than a full-fledged monetary rebellion, ingeniously wrapped in the cold, hard logic of mathematics. Then, in 2009, the inaugural block was successfully mined, an event now famously known as the Genesis block. Embedded within its foundational code, Satoshi Nakamoto left an unmistakable message. The Times 03/Jan/2009 Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. This wasn't merely a factual timestamp. It was a potent, defiant symbol, an unequivocal gesture of contempt directed squarely at the very heart of the failing financial system. But what precisely did this concept of mining entail? In the nascent world of Bitcoin, it bore no resemblance to digging for precious metals. Instead, it referred to the intricate process of solving computationally intensive mathematical puzzles. Each instance a miner's powerful computer successfully cracked one of these complex equations, it earned the right to append a new block of verified transactions to the continuously growing chain, the blockchain, and in return, received newly minted Bitcoin as a reward. This ingenious mechanism ensures the network's perpetual vitality, thousands of machines tirelessly competing, rigorously verifying, and robustly securing every single transaction, all without the need for a central authority. No government oversight, no banking intermediaries, simply pure, unadulterated mathematics. A diverse coalition of early adherents soon rallied to the movement. Libertarians, visionary programmers, and dissenting economists, essentially anyone who fervently believed that money ought to remain unequivocally free from political influence and centralized control, became its pioneers. They initially conducted their trades on nascent online forums, exchanging coins then valued at mere pennies. Famously, one of these pioneers, Laszlo Hanyecz, executed what is widely recognized as the very first real-world purchase using Bitcoin. 2 pizzas acquired for a staggering 10,000 BTC. Valued at current market rates, that single meal would today exceed $600 million, indisputably making it the most exorbitantly priced repast in all of recorded history. However, it wasn't long before the lofty ideal of stateless money inevitably crashed head-on with the enduring realities of human nature. By 2013, Bitcoin's value had undergone an explosive ascent, rocketing from less than $1 to over $1,000. This dramatic surge attracted a deluge of eager speculators. Digital exchanges, most notably MTGOX, transformed into billion-dollar markets virtually overnight. And then, with a predictability that history often reiterates, the utopian dream began to fracture. In 2014, MTGOX imploded, its demise triggered by the inexplicable disappearance of 850,000 bitcoins. A staggering $450 million in what was considered digital gold simply vanished, leaving victims with absolutely no authority to contact, no regulatory body to intervene, no prospect of refunds, and ultimately no legal recourse whatsoever. Though the immutable blockchain meticulously recorded every single stolen coin for public scrutiny, not a solitary one could be recovered. The underlying technology in its pure form functioned flawlessly. It was rather the human element, the individuals and institutions surrounding it, that ultimately failed. This, then, encapsulates the profound paradox at the heart of Bitcoin. While it triumphantly eliminates traditional middlemen, it simultaneously eradicates essential mediators. Should anything go awry, there exists no higher authority, no safety net to appeal to. Each transaction, once executed, is utterly final. Every error, once made, becomes an indelible permanent mark. As the broader cryptocurrency ecosystem underwent an explosive, unregulated expansion, a commensurate surge in scams and fraudulent schemes inevitably followed. Bogus wallets, insidious Ponzi-style tokens, deceptive phishing links, and swift rug pulls proliferated. Most of these insidious ventures leveraging Bitcoin's established brand name, yet constructed upon far more precarious foundations. In 2022 alone, participants across the entire crypto industry collectively forfeited over $3.8 billion due to hacks and elaborate scams, a staggering figure that, at the time, represented the highest recorded loss. While the transparent nature of the blockchain often allows for the tracing of stolen funds, their actual recovery remains an almost insurmountable challenge. The destination addresses are plainly visible. The identities of their true owners, however, remain frustratingly elusive. Even cold storage solutions, physical hardware wallets such as Ledger or Trezor, while undoubtedly offering enhanced security, are not entirely foolproof. They provide robust protection against technical hacks, yet they offer no defense whatsoever against the cunning of fraud. The moment you willingly transfer your digital assets to a scammer, even the most secure hardware wallet becomes powerless to retrieve them. This, then, is the stark, immutable trade-off that Bitcoin inherently demands: unbridled freedom or robust protection. It presents an uncompromising choice. You simply cannot possess both simultaneously. Bitcoin unequivocally promised liberation from the clutches of centralized control, a promise it undeniably fulfilled. Yet, in doing so, it simultaneously stripped away the fundamental safety nets upon which ordinary investors have historically depended. There are no chargebacks for erroneous transactions, no customer service hotlines to call for assistance, no digital undo button to rectify mistakes. In this new paradigm, you possess absolute ownership of your money, and, by extension, bear the full weight of every single error that accompanies that profound responsibility. Despite these inherent risks and stark realities, a committed core of adherents continued to believe. For them, Bitcoin transcended mere currency. It embodied an ideology, a potent protest against the entrenched old order. And it is precisely within this fundamental distinction that the entire narrative of stateless money truly resides. A cautionary tale, perhaps, that freedom unfettered by boundaries rarely endures for long. In 2021, a single nation made the audacious decision to seize the ambitious dream of Bitcoin and enshrine it into law. El Salvador, a small Central American country historically reliant on U.S. dollars and the flow of remittances, boldly declared Bitcoin to be legal tender. Its charismatic young president, Nayib Bukele, hailed this move as nothing less than a profound revolution. This marked an unprecedented moment in history. A sovereign nation was poised to officially adopt a stateless digital currency, a potential game-changer, offering a decentralized alternative to a traditional financial system that had systematically excluded millions of its own citizens. The global community largely decried his actions as reckless. Bukele, conversely, defiantly labeled it the dawn of true freedom. Initially, the unfolding narrative appeared to be a resounding triumph. The Salvadoran government launched a bespoke national wallet application, aptly named Chivo, distributing $30 in Bitcoin to every citizen who embraced the new digital currency by downloading it. Concurrently, Bitcoin ATMs were strategically installed throughout the nation. The vibrant streets surrounding El Zonte, quickly rebranded as Bitcoin Beach, became powerful symbols of this bold financial innovation. Tech influencers, captivated by the experiment, began to laud Bukele as the visionary CEO-president. For a fleeting period, it genuinely seemed as though a groundbreaking new era had dawned. However, this ambitious experiment soon collided with the unyielding wall of reality. The vast majority of Salvadorans, it became clear, had little desire to use a notoriously volatile asset for their daily groceries. What they truly craved was financial stability. In 2022, As Bitcoin's price plummeted by over 60%, the government's substantial digital asset holdings saw their paper value halved. This dramatic downturn fueled public discontent, leading to protests erupting on the streets of San Salvador. Citizens voiced widespread complaints about frustrating technical glitches, rampant scams, and the unsettling phenomenon of frozen wallets. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, observing with concern, issued stark warnings that the widespread adoption of Bitcoin carried the potential to severely destabilize the country's national finances and could even jeopardize future access to crucial international loans. By 2025, the outcomes of El Salvador's bold venture remained decidedly mixed and undeniably revealing. Officially, the nation now holds approximately 6,240 Bitcoins, a portfolio currently valued at roughly $740 million at prevailing market prices, reflecting a substantial paper profit of nearly $443 million following a recent market surge. The government proudly touts this impressive figure. However, the ground-level reality presents a far more nuanced picture. According to surveys conducted by the Central Reserve Bank, only about 8% of Salvadorans engage with Bitcoin on a regular basis. The vast majority continue to rely on the familiar stability of the U.S. dollar. Subsequently, as part of a significant new $1 4 billion agreement with the IMF, President Bukele's administration quietly conceded to making Bitcoin acceptance voluntary for businesses, rather than legally mandatory. While the original law technically remains in effect, the initial revolutionary fervor has undeniably dissipated. International creditors, wielding their financial influence, impose stringent restrictions on any further large-scale Bitcoin purchases by the government. Nevertheless, the nation's dedicated Bitcoin office reportedly continues to acquire smaller amounts, often through opaque, state-linked entities, seemingly off the books. The localized Bitcoin beach economy, though, continues to persist, primarily sustained by a steady influx of tourism. However, for the average Salvadoran citizen, a deep sense of wariness remains. For them, Bitcoin failed to deliver the promised financial freedom. Instead, it largely introduced confusion and complication. Their wages are still predominantly dispersed in U.S. dollars, their debts are denominated in dollars, and their savings overwhelmingly reside in traditional cash. Bitcoin, in the everyday lives of most, has been relegated to little more than an intriguing yet ultimately tangential sideshow. And yet, for all its conspicuous flaws and unfulfilled promises, the El Salvadoran experiment inadvertently unveiled a profound truth. Bitcoin, in its current iteration, simply cannot fully displace or become a comprehensive replacement for an entire national financial system, precisely because it is not, in its essence, a system unto itself. Rather, it is fundamentally a technology. While the technology functions beautifully and efficiently for individuals possessing specific knowledge and rigorous financial discipline, its implementation as a national currency ironically served to accentuate the very societal ill it aimed to ameliorate: profound economic inequality. The affluent and the technologically adept readily acquired new, sophisticated avenues for discreetly moving their wealth offshore. Meanwhile, the nation's impoverished populace was simply instructed to download an application that, for many, proved frustratingly dysfunctional. What El Salvador's experience unequivocally demonstrated was a crucial insight. Even a stateless currency ultimately requires the implicit, or explicit, enforcement of trust by a governing state. Absent effective governance, widespread adoption inevitably devolves into disarray and chaos. And such widespread chaos, as history consistently proves, always extracts a heavy price. While the ambitious Salvadoran experiment unfolded in the tangible real world, an entirely distinct narrative was simultaneously playing out online. There, a new, emerging class of digital elites began subtly, yet powerfully, shaping Bitcoin's ultimate destiny, driven not by sovereign governments, but by what are known as whales. These whales represent the most substantial holders of Bitcoin, colossal digital wallets containing thousands, or even tens of thousands of coins. In 2025, a startling reality persists. Approximately 1% of all Bitcoin addresses collectively command control over more than half of the cryptocurrency's entire circulating supply. This profound concentration of wealth means that a mere handful of individuals or institutions possess the immense power to significantly influence the market price of an asset that is paradoxically lauded as decentralized. The movement of even a modest 10,000 BTC by a single whale, an amount equivalent to roughly $600 million at current valuations, is often sufficient to trigger dramatic crashes or meteoric spikes in markets worldwide. While some of these immense wallets are associated with established exchanges, others are controlled by entirely anonymous entities. Crucially, not a single one of these powerful actors operates under any form of accountability. Within the realm of traditional finance, such concentrated influence and unchecked power would immediately trigger serious alarms. Regulatory bodies such as the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, in the US, or the FCA, Financial Conduct Authority, in the UK, assiduously monitor for illegal activities like insider trading, deliberate market manipulation, and covertly coordinated market moves. For instance, if a corporate executive purchases company stock prior to the public release of favorable news, that constitutes insider trading, a serious felony. Similarly, if a hedge fund maliciously disseminates false rumors to artificially drive down stock prices, that is unequivocally market manipulation. Both offenses carry severe penalties, often leading to substantial prison sentences. However, the Bitcoin ecosystem operates in a starkly different regulatory void, entirely lacking such crucial rules. There are no reporting requirements whatsoever, no mandated disclosure standards, and consequently, no effective punishments for such actions. If a whale strategically dumps a massive volume of coins on one exchange, deliberately precipitating panic and a market downturn, only to then acquire those coins at a significantly lower price on a different platform, such an action is simply rationalized as mere strategy within this unregulated domain. Even more pervasive is the insidious insider game. This includes exchange employees leveraging privileged knowledge of upcoming coin listings to front-run the market, or developers discreetly leaking sensitive information about impending updates. It also encompasses private, clandestine groups coordinating elaborate pump-and-dump cycles through encrypted communication channels. In regulated financial markets, these actions would unequivocally be classified as criminal conspiracy, leading to severe legal repercussions. In the world of crypto, however, they are often seen as business as usual, simply Tuesday. This, then, crystallizes the fundamental contradiction embedded at the very heart of Bitcoin's unfolding narrative. It was meticulously engineered with the noble intention of eradicating human corruption from finance. Yet, it was humans who subsequently constructed the entire ecosystem around it. And those same humans swiftly learned to skillfully bend, and even break, the rules precisely because within this new frontier, formal rules simply did not exist. While Bitcoin's core protocol famously renders it impervious to manipulation by governments or central banks, it can be, and indeed demonstrably is, manipulated by private individuals or entities possessing sufficient capital to significantly sway its market trajectory. This phenomenon is a far cry from true decentralization. What it effectively represents is merely the emergence of a new oligarchy, albeit one operating with more sophisticated technology. In the conventional stock market, insider trading is rightly reviled and feared because it fundamentally erodes fairness and investor trust. In the Bitcoin realm, however, a similar advantage, often derived from early access or privileged information, is euphemistically termed early adoption. Yet, the ultimate outcome remains precisely the same. Power inevitably concentrates into fewer hands, and those who enter the market later are invariably the ones who bear the financial cost. By 2025, Bitcoin's underlying code continues to embody a pristine, uncorrupted purity. Its surrounding market, however, is anything but, and this crucial distinction holds profound significance. For in an environment devoid of impartial referees, every participant is compelled to act as their own regulator, their own judge, and all too often, their own unwitting victim. As of 2025, Bitcoin has ascended to a dual status. It is simultaneously a powerful myth and a stark mirror. It functions as a myth of unbridled digital freedom, while also serving as a clear mirror reflecting every inherent flaw of human greed. Its price, following years of characteristic volatility, has once again experienced a dramatic surge, effectively reigniting the speculative crypto fever that previously captivated the global imagination. Digital exchanges are once more abuzz with frenetic activity. Politicians, eager to align themselves, are seen tweeting with laser eyes. And inevitably, the familiar, self-assuring chorus echoes through the digital realm. This time, it's different. Yet, the fundamental narrative of history, in its essence, never truly changes. It merely adopts new guises and fresh disguises. Upon Donald Trump's return to the White House in 2025, he boldly declared his ambition for America to become the crypto capital of the world. Characteristically, he dismissed regulation as a form of socialism and promptly signed executive orders designed to roll back many of the digital asset rules previously established by the preceding administration. The White House, in a move that further blurred the already fine line between legitimate governance and potential grift, even launched its own non-fungible tokens, NFTs, with the stated aim of funding political projects. In immediate response, cryptocurrency markets surged dramatically. Billions of dollars flooded into newly launched projects virtually overnight. While a fraction of these represented genuinely legitimate innovations, many others were, in essence, thinly veiled fraud meticulously packaged in designer clothing. It was, regrettably, the same age-old narrative repeating itself. The seductive allure of freedom marketed as boundless opportunity, and unrestrained speculation, cunningly sold as authentic revolution. For in the glaring absence of robust regulation, unfettered lawlessness invariably dons the deceptive cloak of liberty. This, then, is the enduring paradox from which Bitcoin has never truly escaped. It was ingeniously conceived to liberate money from centralized control, and in that specific objective it undeniably succeeded. However, what subsequently emerged was not a utopian world of equitable opportunity. Instead, it became a realm of absolute, unyielding personal responsibility, where each investor is effectively their own bank, every mistake is indelibly permanent, and every financial loss, once incurred, is irrevocably final. In the framework of traditional finance, a comprehensive safety net exists, comprising vigilant regulators, established courts, deposit insurance schemes, and stringent laws explicitly prohibiting manipulation. Should a conventional bank face insolvency, government intervention is a distinct possibility. If a corporate executive engages in insider trading, leveraging privileged information, they face the very real prospect of imprisonment. And if your funds are stolen, there exists at least a tangible possibility of recovery through legal channels. Within the Bitcoin ecosystem, however, such protective mechanisms are entirely